What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we've got some awesome information for you guys, but before we get into that, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos first. Now, starting off first is some incredible Resident Evil franchise news. We've got some information on Resident Evil 4 and what I have to say about that game, because that is looking absolutely incredible. Resident Evil for the Nintendo Switch, cloud versions, boo, right? But hey, they're there. And also, the newest information on Resident Evil Village DLC, the Winter's expansion, story trailer, third-person mode. There's a lot of good stuff to go over here. So, Capcom has released a brand new trailer and screenshots for Resident Evil Village, downloadable content, Winter's expansion, as well as released a new 60-minute demo featuring the expansion's third-person mode across the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC via Steam. And for me, this is all about the third-person mode. Now, in this Winter's expansion, you play as Ethan Winters, his daughter, and how she's trying to get rid of the powers that she was born with 16 years after the events of the original Resident Evil Village, or Resident Evil 8. It's very interesting. I love the story and everything. I just hate the first-person mode. I hate it. So now we have this demo, and now we actually have a real third-person mode where you still can't see his face, but at least they have that. So I'm very excited to get into the third-person mode, because I watched all of Resident Evil Village. I just watched it and I know everything that happens, and I looked at the different story analysis and all that, because I love the Resident Evil storyline, but I absolutely hate the first-person Resident Evil. So I'm so happy that they actually listened to the fans out there, and I'm looking forward to checking out this 60-minute demo with the third-person mode. Maybe I will record it and make my own impressions at some point. Now, next up in the Resident Evil universe is Resident Evil 2 Cloud, Resident Evil 3 Cloud, and Resident Evil 7 Biohazard Cloud for the Nintendo Switch. So Resident Evil 2 Cloud will launch officially for the Nintendo Switch on November 11th, followed by Resident Evil 3 Cloud on November 18th, and Resident Evil 7 Biohazard Cloud on December 16th. Capcom has announced that all three titles are currently available across all the different platforms, PlayStation, Xbox, and also PC. So this is obviously going to be a point of contention for many people out there, because these are not native ports of Resident Evil. People would love to have more Resident Evil on the Nintendo Switch, but this isn't necessarily the way that people wanted it, because it's not running and ported to the actual system itself to where you can download it and it's on your hard drive, or it's on your SD card, or you can go buy a physical copy like Resident Evil Revelations 1 or 2 or the collections that they have. It is a cloud version of the game, and that means that you're going to be streaming it from the internet. You download a client that's very small in file size, and then you stream the game. And the reason why that's a problem is because the internet, that's the problem. And internet can have issues, can have bandwidth issues, can have other people using it, can be affected at any point, can have interference, unless you have the fastest internet and it's connected with the Cat5 cable and nobody else is on there. It seems like these cloud games don't perform very well. Now, Capcom was talking very confidently about these cloud games on the Nintendo Switch, and they talked about how you can test and see how it is, and all these different things, and play in 60 frames per second and all that, and that's all fine and dandy, but we've heard that type of stuff before with this cloud stuff. Now, if any company can pull off incredible cloud gaming on the Nintendo Switch, I guess it'd be Capcom, since they made the effort to actually make these. But at the same time, I'm not confident that these cloud versions are going to be anything worth Nintendo Switch gamers' money at this point, considering what we've got. However, I will be testing it out, but pretty much everything that we've gotten so far has not been good when it comes down to Nintendo Switch and cloud gaming. There's been a lot of failure and not a lot of success based off of what I've played. But what do you guys think about that? You guys can let me know. But last and definitely not least, it's the biggest thing from this show, which by the way was paced expertly. The biggest thing, Resident Evil 4 Remake. And usually when developers make a remake like The Last of Us Part 1, people say, okay, yeah, you know, remake, there was a lot of controversy, you know, it looks good, obviously it looks better, but how much better does it look? There is absolutely no question that this is a remake. So there's a remake and then there is a remake, as in Resident Evil Remake. And that is the big difference between everybody else, it seems like, the industry and Capcom with their remakes. When they remake a game, it looks like they went through hell and back to make this game look as cool and as great as possible. And they've been doing this for 20 years or so, man. This dates all the way back to the GameCube, where they took the Resident Evil game and remade it, and still to this day, that game looks incredible. So Capcom is by far, in my opinion, the absolute leader in remakes. They are the absolute leader. Nobody gets it better than them when they do it, especially with Resident Evil, and this just proves it. This gameplay trailer completely changes everything for Resident Evil 4. The game that you thought that you knew has been enhanced, has been buffed, has been statted up, has been hyperbolic time chambered, has been incredibly increased to this just astronomical portions that I wish that maybe I was exaggerating a little bit, but I'm not. You guys are seeing the footage here. Everything that they showed was absolutely incredible. You've got brand new gameplay moves, you've got updated controls, you've got updated inventory systems, you've got updated graphics, you've got new ways to take down enemies, you've got new everything. There was new across the board. This is a remake. This is how you get it done. And I cannot wait to spend my money on this game. $70 for PS5, sign me up, especially with that DualSense controller. When you want to sell a game for $75 or even full price, you gotta blow us away with the content or with the gameplay or with something. And especially if you're making a remake and you're charging full price, and they did a phenomenal job here. I can't help but heap praise on one of the best games of all time. This is a revelation when it comes down to it. So I'm very excited about that. They did talk about some deluxe editions and the breakdown in terms of the key features, modernized gameplay, surviving, reimagined story. You know, there's all sorts of stuff. They're adding in new segments and nuances. So it's not going to be the same exact thing that you saw here. They talk about the sophisticated visuals. They've got 4K. It's just incredible. This is one of the most incredible things that I've seen, and I'm so happy that it's happening. It's coming out this March. Looking forward to it, March 24th. I cannot wait to play me some Resident Evil 4 Remake. It's looking great. So what do you guys think about all of this Resident Evil information that just got dropped in our lap? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here, we've got a very interesting strategy RPG that's coming to the Nintendo Switch a lot of years later, more than a decade and a half later. We've got Record of Agarest War. Yes, Record from Agarest War from the PlayStation 3 back in 2007. And the Xbox 360, goodness gracious. So ArcSys Games will release a Switch version of Compile Heart developed strategy RPG Record of Agarest War, and hopefully I'm saying that right. I might be saying it wrong. Let me know in the chat. In March 2023, the company announced. Now, it will be available both standard and limited editions. Record of Agarest War first launched for the PlayStation 3 on September 27, 2007 in Japan, and an Xbox 360 version followed on November 27, 2008 in Japan. The PlayStation 3 version made its Western debut on October 30th, 2009 in Europe. In North America, both the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 versions were released on April 27, 2010. So almost 2.5 to 3 years later from the original PlayStation release in Japan. Now, a PC version was released on October 3rd, 2013 worldwide, followed by Android on December 19, 2013, and iOS on May 14, 2014. So ArcSys Ooh boy, they have some confidence in this one a little bit, or at least they see the Nintendo Switch and maybe cash grab. Hey, let's just take this old game that pretty much everybody forgot about, you know, pretty much everybody forgot about, and let's put it out on Switch. People are buying stuff on Switch, especially strategy RPGs, Triangle Strategy, Mario plus Rabbids, Fire Emblem. We got all these great strategy RPGs that are selling. Let's try our hand. So here's what they have to say about the game. The cult classic returns. An epic strategy RPG featuring over 100 hours of gameplay, not including side/bonus missions. The fate of Agarest is in your hands, as well as your reputation with the ladies. Choose a bride at the end of your adventure and give birth to a playable hero of the next generation. Perfect collaborative attacks by positioning your forces on the battlefield and wait for the right moment to string together massive combo attacks using multiple party members, both in melee and ranged attacks. Now, in researching this video, guys, I went on Metacritic to see what the scores were and what people were saying about this game back when it came out. And some of the most interesting things were being said. One, it was barely reviewed. It barely has any reviews on the PS3 or the Xbox 360, and to be exact, it has 14 reviews between the both of them. Okay, 14 reviews between the both of them, 7 reviews each. Now, the PS3 version is a 67 Metacritic, while the Xbox 360 version is a 71 Metacritic, so it's just based on different people playing the game. But I found this quote to be the most interesting quote out of all of the reviews for the game. This is from IGN, and they had this to say: "It's being marketed as an erotic SRPG, but in reality, it's actually very tame. A little cleavage is all you're going to see here. I would rather it have gone more over the top with its sexuality, as that would have made it a more unique experience." Imagine someone saying that in today's day, where games sometimes get knocked for their sexuality in the game, even when they're not that bad. Even when it's something like Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and people going nuts on Twitter, and of course Twitter is full of complete weirdos, but like Twitter, people going nuts and people saying all sorts of different crazy things, or even like Bayonetta, people knocking that. There were some review scores and things like that. Imagine if that was said in today's day. That's just crazy. I just found it hilarious that they said that. And they gave it a 7.5. I mean, there was 7 review scores and 4 of them were mixed, 3 of them were positive, no negative reviews, but 3 positive, 4 mixed. So very interesting when it comes down to it. I do want to read GameSpot too. GameSpot said, "This sexed up strategy role-playing game boasts some interesting ideas, but falls short of realizing its full potential." So there's definitely some good gameplay in there. It's just maybe not the best game out there when it comes to strategy RPGs. And looking at what we're getting here with Tactics Ogre, and also looking at what we're getting with Triangle Strategy, or what we've already gotten, looking at Fire Emblem coming up, there's a lot of good games. And this game comes out in March. Ooh, interesting, because Octopath, I mean, it is after that, and it's also after Fire Emblem Engage, but hey, it is what it is. I think Arxis is just kind of throwing something out there when it comes down to it, on a platform that they know they can probably sell a number of copies on. So what do you guys think about this title, Record of Agarest War, coming over to the Nintendo Switch on March 2023? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here, guys. Square Enix has trademarked something very interesting recently. So Square Enix has filed a trademark for Ember Storia and Saga Emerald Beyond on October 13th in Japan, which were recently made public. Now, the singular Ember Storia trademark follows a trademark of the longer Ember Storia overwrite back in April. Now, Square Enix also registered the domain names for emberstoria.com and emberstoria.net back in May. Now, the Saga Emerald Beyond trademark could be the title of one of the multiple Saga projects Square Enix has in development. So, what this says is that it seems like there's going to be a major brand new RPG announced from Square Enix probably late this year or next year at some time. I'm going to guess that it's going to be announced at some type of event, a Square Enix Presents, a Nintendo Direct, something to kind of get it that actual push, you know, if it's a new IP. Now, this Saga thing could be completely separate, which it does seem like it, or Ember Storia could be the next major Saga game. to kind of combine with maybe some of the older Saga games coming over, or remasters or remakes of the Saga games when it comes to Emerald Beyond and stuff like that. But I'm guessing that Ember Story is something brand new, either in the Saga series or as a brand new RPG, because we know that Square Enix has their new focus of making sure that they get back to what they do really well, which is the major RPGs like we've seen Final Fantasy XVI. That trailer looked incredible, in addition to them doing these smaller RPGs as well, or the AA things and the HD 2D games, stuff like Octopath Traveler 2, also stuff like Live Alive, Neo, The World Ends With You. They're great at stuff like that as well. So I think that Square Enix is kind of getting back to that style with it. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to what Square Enix has to offer, and I think that this is going to be a fantastic, really good way for them to kind of embrace what they do best and get back into it based off of these trademarks. But we're gonna have to wait and see. But what are your thoughts when it comes to these new trademarks from Square Enix? Let me know in the comment section below. And moving on to the next topic, Final Fantasy XVI, the brand new Ambition trailer, new screenshots and information. And if you haven't seen this trailer fully, I highly recommend you guys to go put on the best audio equipment or whatever that you have. If you've got headphones, you've got a surround sound, just do it. Sit down in front of the TV, not on your cell phone, and play this trailer. This is a completely different style of Final Fantasy game. This is something where they're really building some type of different, or I would say exciting, Final Fantasy game, to where they really try to really move Final Fantasy into a completely different realm when it comes down to it. The environments, the landscapes, the setup, the story, everything seems to be on a grand nature that Final Fantasy has hit before, but it's kind of misfired here and there. But it seems like it's going to kind of harken back to what they did before. When you first saw Final Fantasy VII, or when you first played Final Fantasy 8 and 9, those PS1 RPGs, or even something like Final Fantasy VI, those Super Nintendo RPGs were incredible. I haven't had that same feeling with Final Fantasy since, probably for me, Final Fantasy 7 or 9 or something like that, like the PS1 games. However, PS2 was great. I think that Final Fantasy X was awesome. But really, it gives me that impression of not that it's going to be this epic turn-based or traditional RPG, but they're trying something that's going to be completely different from what you expect or from what you saw, and they're building something that you just don't see very often out there. So that's why I'm so excited. They're giving us more details on the game. There's details on the characters, graphics, the story. Everything just looks incredible. And at this point, it's so cinematic in terms of the angles and what they're doing, but they show off some incredible, fast, lightning fast paced gameplay to where it really does look like Devil May Cry. Like, it really does. If somebody said this was the next Devil May Cry game, and, you know, without Dante or something, people would probably be like, okay, wow, yeah, this is Devil May Cry. It looks that great. Now, there wasn't a lot of the HUD and the gameplay. It was more about showing the setup and the story and the characters and the atmosphere to kind of show what they're building, but it was impressive nonetheless, and I cannot wait to get my hands on the game sometime in 2023 this summer. So what are your thoughts on this, guys, when it comes to everything that we discussed? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you're someone new. Click that notification bell. We will see you for the next video. Peace.